What is going on, everybody? We are back with another review, and this time we are reviewing Season 1, Episode 1 of Alfred Hitchcock Presents. The episode is called Revenge. This was actually directed by Alfred Hitchcock, which I say that because as we proceed through more of the season, he doesn't direct near as many of them as you would think. So that's pretty neat and interesting. I don't know why. Stop. All right, ho. The story was written by Samuel Bloss. Teleplay was written by Francis Cockrell, and it stars Ralph Meeker as Carl Span, Vera Miles as Elsa Span, Frances Bavier. Yeah, I was right, by the way. She was in the Andy Griffith Show and Mayberry RFD. So yeah, that's Frances Bavier as Miss Ferguson, Ray Montgomery as the man in the gray suit, John Gallaudet as the doctor, Ray Teal as police lieutenant, Herbert Litton as a police lieutenant, and then a couple others who were, I'm not real sure. And this originally aired October 2nd, 1955. So again, absolutely fun episode. Not the best of the show, I will admit. Even of the several episodes that I do remember. I always feel like this suffers from the same thing so many of these old shows suffer from, and that's just not feeling conclusive, right? So, to give you a rundown of what happened, this family moved to California from someplace. I don't know exactly where. And the guy has a new job in California. And the reason they moved there, you find out, is because the wife had gone through an episode, and they needed to move out to California for 6 months for treatment. Basically, the treatment is just being in the sun, being near water, things like that, relaxing. And since his job had a plant out in California, he was able to make a transfer out to Cali. So, his first day of work, he's getting ready. He makes his wife and himself breakfast. She gets out of bed, and he leaves to go to work. She decides she's going to bake him a cake. The neighbor, who is the one played by Frances Bavier, she comes over and hangs out for a little bit and drinks some apple juice with her, and they talk a little bit about why she's out there, and then she leaves while the main lady suns herself, Elsa suns herself. So Carl, the husband, gets back home from work. He gets all his bags of groceries out of the car to take them into the trailer, and he yells for his wife to open the door. She doesn't open the door, so he opens the door, and there's a bunch of smoke coming out of the trailer. He drops off the groceries, gets the cakes that are burning in the stove out of the stove, and tosses them outside. The house seems to be in a little bit of disarray. Chairs are knocked over, things like that. He runs back to the bedroom, and she's out on the floor, and he picks her up. He lays her in the bed, and he tries to wake her up to ask her questions. Runs to the door, asks for Miss Ferguson to come over, and he goes back in, and she says something along the lines of, like, he killed me, he tried to kill me. And you find out that her story that she's going with is she sees, she's in the house, she turns around, she sees a salesman who's trying to get money from her. She refuses, he chokes her, and she passes out, thinking she died. So, the cops come, investigate, and the doc comes to make sure she's okay, and she is. The doc suggests that they go stay in a hotel and get away from the trailer. So, he talks with her the next day, and she said she would like to go do that, so they leave. and they start driving down the road. Where as they're driving down the road, Elsa sees somebody walking along the street that looks like the guy that she thinks tried to kill her. So he pulls over, grabs a wrench, and follows the dude into this hotel. They go up to the third floor. They go down to room 3, whatever that the guy is in. He goes in and basically beats him to death with the wrench. Closes the door behind him as he walks out and leaves. They then begin to drive down the road further. And as they're driving down, they decide they're going to go to the next small town and stay in the next small town to just completely get away from everything. And as they get closer, she starts to panic again, thinking that she sees him walking down the road again. And it's a very fleeting thing. She's like, "Oh my God, there he is." And then that's it. And he realizes that he might have just messed up. And he goes to leave, and or as he's driving, you start hearing the police sirens in the distance. And one of the things I definitely love about this more than the Twilight Zone, Alfred Hitchcock's presence is so much more upfront and in your face than Rod Serling's. So Rod Serling doesn't start the episodes in your face to talk to you. So one of the things that, if you've noticed, even with Welcome to Betaville, the guy that it was the intro dude for Welcome to Paradox. I'm sorry, not Betaville. Betaville's the city it takes place in. Welcome to Paradox. He's in the beginning and the end, and in the beginning, it's kind of the setup for the episode, and the end, it's kind of like everything that happens after, and it's like that in this as well, right? So he tells the story. It ends with the guy hearing the sirens, and then Alfred Hitchcock proceeds to be like, "Oh, he absolutely was captured, tried, convicted, and served his time for killing this guy for no reason, because he can't. It's illegal to take law into your own hands." And one of the things I also love about Alfred Hitchcock in the beginning and end is he's an absolute. The humor is just so dry. It's very matter of fact, and I love it. Even though I do hear he's an absolute nightmare to work for as a director. Well, he was an absolute nightmare to work for as a director. His presence on screen is just so commanding, and I love it. So yeah, I'm super excited to continue down this series. Again, I don't think this episode is that great. That has nothing to do with Alfred Hitchcock or the story itself. It has the makings to be great. It just feels so unfinished. Like there should be more to it. That is a problem I tend to have with a lot of these older shows. Because if you guys have been following along with all of the Twilight Zone watchings, I that suffers from a lot of the same things. And this is going to throughout the thing as well. So, but this is going to lean a little more into the horror than the Twilight Zone does. Not much. But yeah. So that's going to do it for this one. Please remember, next time we will be checking out Premonition. And by the way, I hate the way it's pronounced like that. That's how Alfred Hitchcock pronounces it. He says Premonition. It's Premonition. But we'll get there. I have a fun story about that one when we go to watch it. So, anyways, guys, that is going to do it for this. Again, not a bad episode, just not great. So, I love y'all. We'll see you next time. Peace.